Legion Season 2 premiere, Chapter 9. So this episode pretty much kicked things off, and it was just as crazy as the entire first season has been. Definitely a fun episode. We find out that this season actually takes place, I want to say she said 362 days or something like that. It was like super close to a full year. But that was an interesting twist. We find out that David was taken, and we also find out by the end that he was taken, and this is an orb that was sent from the future, and it collects him, and somehow it sent him into like this weird thing, which, it's this show, so yeah, who knows when we'll get the actual answer to how he ended up in that location. But it was like some really weird type matrix middle zone thing that was going on, and so he finds out that he actually needs to help the Shadow King find his body. Otherwise, I would assume, based off of what we saw, things are going to go really, really bad, because maybe there's a new villain that's going to come along, or there's just some insane disaster that they need the Shadow King to help with. So who knows, whatever the heck is happening is going to be something insane. This whole premiere was actually kind of insane, because we find out, aside from the fact that it's been a year, we find out that the good guys are now actually working with the bad guys, because now the Shadow King, he was the third threat that combined the heroes and the villains. So now Division 3, or I think it's Division 4, I can't even remember the numbers, but the good guys are now working with the bad guys. So we see, where everybody is. Tactical, which I thought that was really funny with Carrie. But like research, tactical, and I forgot what they had, where it was like, basically, here's what's happening, as far as the plans. And they were really just arguing in the lobby, which I thought was funny. I was like, that's a weird location for like a meeting table, and it's just a bunch of people yelling like in this giant lobby. But I really enjoyed the episode. It was as weird as always. Visuals just insane, super trippy, or sometimes it's full screen, then it goes to widescreen. Like, they have an insanely weird, oddly cool but super weird dance battle type of situation, and they do like, they were doing like triple takes and quadruple takes of certain actions, which honestly I loved it just visually. I was like, I actually really like that scene because of how they did the triple takes from different angles. But just insane how they even do the opening, which I loved, with the title card where it's like, it says Legion, and then there's like the boat that goes across, and it's actually like food, which that was like the weirdest system I'd ever seen. Like, that actually exists, but normally it's like at like a sushi thing where it's like, it's seemingly small. That seemed like it went through like a 20-foot room, and it was just little boats carrying food. I was like, that seems to kind of defeat the purpose. Normally it's a bit more succinct than that, and it was just like this giant room with these little boats with, with food on top, and I was like, that's just crazy. But visually, it was like, they go like super, super widescreen, and you just see Legion in the water, and then the boat goes across. And I was like, that's cool. And I thought it was a real boat at first, and then it was like, oh no, that's a waffle on that boat. So a bunch of weird stuff in the episode, of course, jumping around, where it's like, all right, well, once David gets like put into the weird tank, he actually starts to get a memory of when he was at the club, which we find out he was with the Shadow King, and we still don't know the full details of that, if he was being controlled, because of course he says he doesn't remember. So a million different little insane things going on there, but he has the memories, and that's where we get the dancing, and he makes Carrie dance. So I was like, all right, I'm assuming he was controlling them. I thought we were going to see everyone like throughout the building dancing, because David's powers were like, going crazy. But it was like, nope, just Carrie dancing. And it was like, maybe that wasn't even really happening. I assume it had to have been happening, but weird, episode is just like, all right, that's happening. Visually, this is happening. That's weird. Dance battle, definitely weird, but enjoyed it. Enjoyed the whole episode. And now it's like this crazy time traveling thing. It was almost like some Days of Future Past type stuff, where it was like, I have to send you this message, and you have to, we have to change the past to save the future. Obviously, no one's actually being sent back in time, but very interesting. And they even talk about it in the promo, where Carrie's like, I can't help but feel like this was made by me. So it was like, all right, he made this device in the future. Somehow they sent the device back in time to capture David, and that allowed for them to have that weird blank space time travel meeting, where for whatever reason, and I can't think of her name, I can't think of like anyone's name but David and the Shadow King right now, because I suck at names. And I was just like, whole episode just watching it like, weird. There's like Carrie and David are like the only ones I remember, and that's because there are two people named Carrie, so they say that name more often. Um, but yeah, it was like, all right, so it's a device that was made in the future that was sent back in time, that allows for communication from the present to the future. That's super weird. And also, the main villain needs to actually find his body, which would allow him to become unstoppable. But they, for some reason, need that unstoppable evil mutant to stop something else. So it's like, all right, I'm excited for this season. I would assume it's going to be a shorter season, much like the last one. I don't know if it's officially going to be 8 episodes or if they'll kind of expand it. But I hope we get more than that. Even if we don't, whatever the story is, it should be entertaining. One thing that I definitely noticed was that the ending is it's a black background this year instead of the white background that they have for the first season. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that's representing the Shadow King, because obviously Shadow's black, or if it's like, the light, or it's just like, it's like this innocence and this, all the generic crap that comes with white versus black, which is racist. But it was interesting. I was like, okay, it's this weird sort of darker tone where now, especially by the end, it's not just, oh, we need to stop the bad guy. It's like we kind of have to help the bad guy because something worse is coming in the future. So very crazy first episode, but definitely loved it. All the weird moments. I was like, yep, this instantly took me back. Everything was just super weird. The one woman, like, she didn't have much to do, like the older woman, she didn't have much in this first episode, but they had the scene where she like took some drugs and then she's laying down and then it's just like this person with like a horse head and like this whole contraption to help them walk. It walks past the screen and I'm just like, I don't understand. Is that just the drug thing? Why was that there? It was so weird. It was so random. But that is this show, and it was definitely a great first episode, so I'm certainly looking forward to season 2. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. Of course, this is season 2 of Legion, and I'm curious if they're going to do any more ties to kind of the overall X-Men universe. I kind of doubt it. Especially with the way they have the story set to like being in the 60s and stuff. I kind of doubt that they'd have to get all the characters would be young except for Xavier, and I don't think they'll bring him in. But I would love to know what you guys are expecting to see from this season, especially with the way it ended, where now they have to help the Shadow King in order to save the future. It really is kind of like some Days of Future Past type stuff. But I would love to know your predictions off of pretty much everything we got from this really weird first episode, which also seemed to tease in the very beginning that David's David's friend from the first season, who is dead, a part of her seems to actually still be there. Like when they had the scene where they're in the pool, she's like, oh, we're trapped. And I was like, that's very interesting, because she's supposed to be dead. Like, it wasn't like she was taken over, she was just dead. But I don't know, it was interesting, just like, what's going on here? Because it's like she's talking about like, oh, we're trapped, and then the other guy, can't remember his name, of course, he talks, which I thought that was really funny. He's like, oh, my glass is empty. He's like, oh, thanks. And then it's just like a random hand came out of the water and then they just disappeared. But they were trapped, and then it pans out and there's a person in Paris, and then it pans out and it's David. And I was like, it's all confusing. But that made it seem like there was a third player. It wasn't just the Shadow King. It seemed like it was someone else. And they also kind of make it seem like the Shadow King does find his body, but there could just be another body in those two minds, even though one of them shouldn't be in there or trapped in there. So I don't know. Weird. But we'd love to know your predictions from all the madness that we got from this first episode. Want to know how you guys think this second season is going to play out. Like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this season premiere. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.